Hello there, everyone, and welcome to GamePoints episode 247. Your weekly little get-together. We talk about recent gaming news. I'm, as always, your host, David Brown, and joining me today is...
I'm David.
Tonight, David, the studio behind Wolfenstein The New Order, is making an Indiana Jones game, and we have our industry predictions for 2021, albeit a little late into the year. But first, I want everyone here to know that this is an audience interactive podcast. So if you're watching here at Twitch TV/GamePoints Live, feel free to join in the conversation. But if you can't join us live, feel free to comment down below if you're watching it over at youtube.com/GamePointsPC. Regardless of where you happen to be viewing this video at, though, I want to hear from you with your questions, comments, concerns, etc. Just try to keep the topics germane to the conversation at hand. David.
Yes.
Let's just go ahead and get right into the news, because this show has the potential of running long if we decide to get deep into some topics. So let's go to the very first thing announced today. Machine Games is making an Indiana Jones game. How do you feel about this? What's your first initial impressions? Did you see the teaser? They put like a little... I don't even know if it was like 30 seconds, but it was this quick little teaser that just... Well, not even gameplay, but it was clearly like an Indiana Jones style setup with an odd riff on the Indiana Jones theme, I might add. It wasn't even the actual Indiana Jones theme.
What year is it?
It is 2021, as I double check, because time has lost all meaning over the past 9 months.
Can you please tell me the last time an Indiana Jones property was released?
Crystal Skull back in
2004.
Was it? No, Crystal Skull wasn't 4, was it?
Crystal Skull was a long fucking time ago, but
I
I'll find
refuse
out.
to believe it was 2004. When it comes to video games, I think Indiana Jones and the Fate of the Atlantis was the last one. By the way, the Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, great game.
Fair. So it was 2008. You got that one.
2008, okay.
But last I checked, that was 13 fucking years ago.
Hey, Mandalorian's good. Just saying. Lucasfilm
Mandalorian
still
is
has
good, but
stuff.
Star Wars as a property has continued to exist in the interim. Indiana Jones largely has it. I'm not trying to shit on this.
Okay.
It's neat that the franchise is getting picked up. It's neat that it's getting a video game. I think the timing's weird. I think that Uncharted came and went, and that was really, for all intents and purposes, the Indiana Jones video game series. I can't imagine what this video game will do that will change the conversation about adventure action video games for the better. I'm worried about the Indiana Jones license is cheap. Let's make a video game.
Well, it's not cheap. I doubt the Indiana Jones franchise is cheap.
Cheaper.
Okay. Then Star Wars maybe, but it still has... So, if you remember...
I don't mean it's cheap in comparison to every franchise in the world. I mean that Indiana Jones as a property is cheaper than Indiana Jones as a property was 12 years ago.
Maybe. I don't even know if I agree with that, but I get what you're trying to get at. I understand.
You get my angle here?
Rather than hammering the details, I'll accept what you're saying right now. It's
a little hazy. It's fine.
Its market value is not as high as it was back during, say, even Crystal Skull days.
Yes. Or I'm completely fucking wrong, and since everything is a remake and a reboot and nostalgia is the only original thing anymore, maybe now's the perfect time to bring Indiana Jones back, and this game will sell gangbusters.
So, one thing to keep in mind, Machine Games really has only made the Wolfenstein games. The newer Wolfenstein games at that. So, and we have no idea what this game is going to be. Is it going to be a first-person shooter? First-person whip combat? I don't know.
I mean, if it's a first-person whip game, I'll get down on it.
That could be interesting.
I want some breakdown level immersion, though.
That's what I see. That's exactly what I was when I saw this and I was thinking about this. Breakdown was the first thing that came to mind because they actually had a good first-person. They did first-person like melee right.
Yeah.
And Indiana Jones uses his gun occasionally, but even more than the whip, he just beats the shit out of people.
Yep.
So I'm very curious to know what this is going to take place as. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a first-person shooter. So I think less
or
Uncharted.
First-person adventure, however you want to call it.
Yeah, I think less Uncharted. Think more like, I don't know. What's a good first-person exploration game? Like the problem is all my examples are very boring. One. Yeah, all my examples are like The Witness, but that's the puzzle game.
Yeah, see, the problem is that first-person adventure isn't a good series of words because adventure games tend to be platformy for the most part. It's either going to be a walking sim or it's going to have some platforming, and platforming in first person sucks. I don't care what game it is. I don't care what you think. Platforming in first person always sucks.
Did you ever play Mirror's Edge?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just curious because I did not like the way Mirror's Edge played, but I know that it has a very dedicated fan base.
But that kind of even had a little bit of a different thing because it was going for like the weird free run vibe and like it's platformy, but it was very like pointed platformy. I'm thinking about jumping on crates in like Half-Life.
Right. No, for sure. Let's see. Soul Glove says it's been said machine games have hired people to be consumer-friendly monetization for Indiana. I'm sorry, let me reread that. Soul Glove says it has been said machine games have hired people to have consumer-friendly monetization for Indiana Jones. I can't speak to that. I have heard nothing about that rumor, Soul Glove. I don't doubt that they would be looking toward that, considering it is a AAA game and they have to have at least some kind of recurring spending somewhere in it. But as far as I know, that we only know two things about this game so far. Who's making it, and that Todd Howard is serving as the EP on it. Additionally, the only other comment they said was, it'll be some time before we have more to reveal. Let me stress.
Sounds an awful lot like everything else coming out of Bethesda.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was getting at. We know nothing else about it. I will say, I doubt this is going to be Xbox exclusive because I would be willing to bet that the ink on this thing's dried before the Microsoft Bethesda deal was even being considered.
I mean, there's also the fact that this is still so new that what's to stop them from making it an exclusive? Like
Disney.
Oh, Disney might have licensed it to everybody or something?
They might have said, you can machine games, you get to build this, but it does not get to be console exclusive. I don't think Disney is in the business of having anything console exclusive anymore.
I also don't think Disney is in the business of making smart video game industry related decisions.
Don't know. We'll see about that. I know they got their Lucasfilm Games back, which is essentially a nice way of saying LucasArts is back, but without the talent or anything like that. I'm glad they changed the name. But I have hopes for this. I have hopes, a lot of hopes for this. Let me ask you this. What are you more interested in? An Indiana Jones game made by Machine Games or the James Bond game made by IO Interactive? I don't even know if those two franchises mean anything, to be quite honest.
I'm trying to think of which one I care about less so that I can pick the other one. I am more excited about a new Perfect Dark than I am about either of those things.
Okay. I'm actually kind of... You're just not an Indiana Jones fan, are you?
See, what's funny is I was when I was a child. like a long fucking time ago.
Motherfucker. How much Batman shit do you own? So let's not just say it was because it was a child thing.
I'm sorry. Batman gets more video games than Indiana Jones does.
That is technically correct.
On a whole, taking the entirety of the property has more positive than negative, so suck it.
Indiana Jones has 4 movies. 2 of them are great, 1 of them is all right. That is a net positive.
No, because 1 of them is so bad it drags down the average.
All right. So if that's what we're going to play, let's talk about Batman and Robin from Joel Schumacher.
Okay, cool. 1 movie against 60 years of comic books.
How many years does that drag down? All right, enough. Enough of this. I thought you'd be more into Indiana. See, I straight up thought you'd be more into this than you are. It's actually kind of shocking to me that your response to this is like a hard meh. With
I don't know.
slight
I
disdain.
think I'm so jaded about like retreaded properties at this point that I don't have any faith that they're going to do it justice, which I'll admit is completely a problem for me. Like that's not realistic. I mean, maybe it'll be great, but I just have no faith anymore in the games industry taking like a beloved property and making it a good thing.
You know, there is something to be said about that. I have seen what Machine Games can do. The first
and what's ridiculous is how much I like the Wolfenstein games. That's the most ridiculous part. Is I think those games are amazing, and I'm still just like, I don't know. It seems weird.
after Cyberpunk, it is definitely good to have a healthy dose of skepticism, even with your golden boys in this industry. So I understand the cynicism. On
Well, and I
paper,
think
this
the other
sounds
thing is
solid.
that I know Machine Games probably isn't working on anything, but it's just Bethesda announcing another project that's years away.
Yeah, I mean, when Bethesda says it'll be sometime before we have more to reveal, this is not until 2023, 2024.
Like, to me, this news is as exciting as hearing that Bethesda has licensed or has acquired the Indiana Jones license.
It's like, okay,
Like, to me, it's, oh, that's neat. But as of right now, I'm not over the moon for it.
Fair enough. Understandable. David, I did just bring up Cyberpunk, so let's go ahead and move on to the next story here. Do you want to take it away, or should I?
Yeah, from gamesindustry.biz, Polish competition watchdog is investigating Cyberpunk 2077. Cyberpunk 2077 developer CD Projekt Red is being investigated by Poland's Office of Competition and Consumer Protection, which has an acronym. UOKIK. I'm not going to try and pronounce that because it's not a word.
Okay.
Anyway, this Consumer Protection Office has found that CD Projekt Red has indeed been misleading in the run-up to the disastrous launch of Cyberpunk 2077, has not made enough effort to fix the problems now that it is out. The organization could fine the studio up to 10% of its annual income and or impose refunds.
10% is a big fucking number. It's not like a flat fee.
Keep in mind that this does not mean that they're currently being fined. Basically, what this is referring to is that CD Projekt Red has promises that have there's going to be large patches for the game, especially for the older gen consoles coming out in January and February. They're supposed to make the game much more performanceable, or however you want to say. You know, more like a video game. And so, if they fail to deliver on those promises, then they could be up these guys' alley and be in some kind of trouble with the Poland office. Yeah. But as of right now, it's just, hey guys, we have an open investigation on you. Get your shit together, or we're gonna come knocking on your door. Yeah.
And keep in mind, it is up to 10% of its annual income. That's like the maximum. Things rarely ever be the maximum of anything, but it is a percentage base, so that is going to be more than just pocket change in the end. Additionally, CD Projekt Red is already facing a class action lawsuit from the investors, saying that CD Projekt lied about the state of the game on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So their legal problems are just beginning.
Yep. You know what the Cyberpunk story has taught me the absolute most?
What was that?
I think that Microsoft needs to take a long fucking hard look at this and pull the old consoles off of the new Halo. Just don't fucking bother. Just don't fucking do it.
I wish that was the case. I wish Sony would do the same.
Give me a next gen Halo.
Yeah, I wish Sony would do the same with the new Horizon, but I believe that is also slated for PlayStation 4 as well.
Because the Horizon 2 has already been confirmed. It's a PS4 game. I don't care what you call it. It's a PS4 game.
And we don't know the new God of War is going to be. They haven't announced if it's going to be on PlayStation 4 or not, but my gut says it will be on PlayStation 4 because they don't want to leave that market share behind. And I get it. I understand it.
Because the install base is ridiculous.
But I hate it.
See, I think that Microsoft is in a better position, though, because Sony has a ridiculous install base on the PlayStation 4, right? It's huge. Tons of those units shipped. But for the Xbox, it's not as significant. And if they're touting the most powerful console in the history of time or whatever, maybe let your developers work on making stuff to look good on it.
Yeah. I mean, we both gone on record about how we say if you have a cross-gen PlayStation game or Xbox game, then it's not cross-gen, it's a last-gen game.
Yep.
Because you have to cater to the lowest common denominator. Unless
the lower gen version was made by that one studio that keeps porting all the Switch games, in which case I'll give you the pass. Yeah, I think that's all I really got to say about Cyberpunk 2077. Besides, my game is not as bad as everyone's pretending it is.
No, it's not. The game is decent. So as an aside,
I think the game's fun. Legitimately,
I am enjoying my time with the game. I have shelved it for the bit because I want them to kind of iron out the kinks on everything like that. I will say I'm having a fun time with it. I like what I see on there. I will also say it is not what was promised, not even close.
That's fair. I just think it's funny that people are piling on the game so much when I'm sure that tons of people haven't even played it.
Well, the reason why people are piling on it, especially in the industry, is because, one, anything Cyberpunk's still getting clicks. Still. To this day. Which is why this article even exists.
Hell
which
yeah.
is why we're talking
watch
about
our
it.
podcast, because we're going to shit on Cyberpunk, even though I kind of like it.
Two, what other story has there been in games for the past 6 weeks?
That's true.
Because everything got the hell out of the way.
I just want to say, for the record, that people need to stop comparing it to Grand Theft Auto, because that's not what it's trying to be.
Oh, it feels so much like Grand Theft Auto to me.
You're an idiot.
I think
it's sci-fi Morrowind, and I will die on that hill.
Oh, I don't see any Morrowind in that game at all. All.
It is far more a Bethesda game than it is a Rockstar game.
It certainly performs like a Bethesda game. I'll give you that.
That's just the way the game feels. I'm gonna die on that hill.
All right, moving on. Next story. Riot and Bungie team up to sue Cheatmaker via PC Gamer. The Valorant developer Riot Games and Destiny 2 studio Bungie have filed a joint lawsuit against Hackmaker called Gator Cheats. The lawsuit notes that both Destiny 2 and Valorant are free, and that Bungie and Riot thus earn money through the sale of virtual items in their games. The success of that system relies on attracting and maintaining large audiences willing to invest money in order to, quote, enhance their experience, end quote, and claims that the presence of cheats actually works against that. And how can you argue against that, right, David? Yeah,
I love that their lawsuit is because they're not making enough money. You have people cheating, and it's costing us money because people don't want to play it because they're cheating.
That's just the definition of damages.
It's just funny because they could just say it's a violation of a fucking TOS or like, I don't know. There's like a million other little things, and it's the one that's going to be guaranteed to work because they're costing us money.
Yes, that's the definition of damages. You can go after people for damages. I get what you're saying. I get the point you're trying to make.
It's just funny.
But they actually have a legal case. In my opinion, I'm not a lawyer. I'll stress that. What I find fascinating about this is that it's two giant companies teaming up on one lawsuit. Yep. They're not separate lawsuits against this place. They have joined forces to fuck this guy, and he's in trouble. Back to the article. Interestingly, the suit says that Bungie served Gator Cheats owner Cameron Santos with a cease and desist order in November 2020, at which time Santos agreed to remove the Destiny 2 cheats from his site. Shortly after that, however, he promised his customers he would continue to support the previously sold copies of Gator Cheat. Furthermore, Bungie believes that even though he took down the Destiny 2 cheat software from publicly accessible areas, he is continuing to offer it privately. Bungie and Riot are seeking an injunction against the distribution of Valorant and Destiny 2 cheats and the end of the support for any existing Gator Cheat software, a full accounting of all Gator Cheat sales in the US, and all proceeds earned from all Gator Cheat sales and various damages and attorney fees. They're not going to get that, by the way. If it's an individual, there's no way in how they're getting that.
Nope.
Numbers aren't being mentioned at this point, but the lawsuit claims the two studios lost millions of dollars in revenue.
Absolute bullshit.
I do want to know how they actually calculated that number.
Ridiculous.
You can't calculate a number.
Bullshit.
You can't calculate a negative. You can't calculate something no one bought to begin with.
Yeah. There was too many cheaters in our video games, and that means that we lost millions of dollars in revenue from people wanting to play. That's just horse shit.
Now, I'm not saying they're not in the right. I'm totally fine with them going after it.
You lost approximately $900.
I am fine with these companies going after the Gator Cheats here because they are deliberately damaging the experience of a product they're trying to sell. I get why they legally go out. But to say that they've lost millions of dollars in revenue, there's no way they can justify that number because you can't prove a negative. You can't prove what doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Back to the article. But the lawsuit claims two studios lost $1 million in revenue, while also noting that Gator Cheats charged exorbitant fees for its services. Valorant Cheats went for $90 per month, $250 for 3 months, or $500 for a lifetime subscription, while Destiny 2 Cheats went for $100 for 3 months, $200 for lifetime. That blows my mind. Who the fuck spends $90 a month just so they can cheat at goddamn Valorant? It's not like they can't tell you're cheating.
Whales?
Idiots.
Idiot whales?
Idiots do this. By the way, if you go to the site now, it does say in compliance with the lawsuit filed by Riot Games and Bungie, Gator Cheats will be shut down indefinitely. So,
how much would you pay for a KDA?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
I also love the fact. Can we take a quick aside and talk about the fact that there was a website that was charging $90 a month for Valorant cheats, when the whole thing on Valorant is it had one of the most intrusive anti-cheat softwares known to man that literally fired up during the goddamn BIOS of your computer and still didn't work? Can we talk about that?
I didn't even think about that. We did mention
true.
that. Yeah,
we had a huge story on the fucking anti-cheat system in Valorant and how intrusive it was. And there's this dude charging $90 a month so you could cheat a Valorant. Don't worry about it. Oh man.
I think I've summed up my opinion on this case so far. This guy shouldn't be cheating in games. He shouldn't be selling cheats in games. He should be taken down. But to say that Bungie and Riot can claim millions of dollars in damages is highly that's
they
bullshit.
Make more in a day and a half than this guy did the entire time his service was online.
Yes. This is meant to send a message is what it's meant, which is why they're being so aggressive on it, which is why they're teaming up to do it. And which is why this guy probably went, oh shit, I'm shutting everything down. So long story short, don't fucking cheat. And if you whine because you got banned for cheating, I have no sympathy for you. But conversely, it also didn't cost these companies millions of dollars either.
David, don't sell cheats online on a publicly facing website that literally any asshole can click on.
Yeah, we got the dark web for that shit. You can put them up next to the bounties for human flesh or something.
Dude, just shut up.
David, why don't you go ahead and lead us off here? Oh, do you want to take the next story, or do you want to take the final story?
Nah, dude, I want to talk about this one because it's more interesting. Crate Entertainment, the makers of Grim Dawn, which is a pretty damn good video game.
I need to sit down and finish it. I really like Grim Dawn.
Are making a city builder, which is a fun style of video game. So I'm pretty excited for this. They had a big blog post that came out today, or not today, whenever we wrote this down, some point in time. Talking about all the different updates and things that had happened in Grim Dawn over the years. And it's a pretty cool video game if you get to check it out. But they also finally showed off their new city builder called
Farthest Frontier, as I realized I didn't actually put that in the notes.
Yeah, thanks. Farthest Frontier. Protect and guide your people as you forge a town from untamed wilderness, the edge of the known world. Harvest raw materials, hunt, fish, and farm to survive. Produce crafted items to trade, consume, equip, and fight with you as you battle for your survival against the elements and outside threats.
The city burns at the distance.
Yep. Fade out. It has, quote-unquote, the most detailed farming system ever. I have no idea what that's supposed to mean.
So excited for that. They say, heat affects, heat and rain and shit affects crops. I am on board for this because I don't know what it was when I was looking at all the features of this game. That one specifically stood out to me, and it sounds a lot like Banished to a degree, where you're really focused only on one city as opposed to a. Don't think
you make
Sim
one
City,
town, you try and keep those people alive. Yeah.
Don't think a city. Don't think Sim City. Don't think City Skylines. Think I have 100 villagers. That seems to be the scale they're working with here.
Yep. And it looks cool. It's definitely has that kind of Banished style, I think, aesthetically, but with weather effects and more intense farming. And I don't know, city builder games like this are interesting to me because they're the perfect just time sink game.
Yeah.
For when you're stressed out and you don't want to get into a big video game, I love sitting down at a city builder and just realizing that it's 4 a.m. and I'm so worried about the economy of my tiny little town, and oh man, I don't have enough farmers, and I just lost 40 peasants in the middle of the night because it got too cold in the wintertime.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. It has been in development for years, they say, so I do expect an early access release on this relatively soon. We'll see. Hey there, Takage. Welcome back. I do appreciate seeing you here as we move on to the last story of the show, but not the last bit of the show.
More of an update.
Capcom finally shared numbers on their recent ransomware attack and how many people were affected. Now, for those who don't know, Capcom suffered a rather nasty ransomware attack, which essentially led to the leak of 5 years of planned video games.
Yep.
It can't be stressed how damaging that is to Capcom's marketing strategy, because we know there's no surprises from Capcom for the next 5 years. We know it all. That's bad. But there's also a bunch of people affected by the hack, and we didn't know how many until now. Capcom put out a press release that gave the following totals.
And it's a lot more than we initially thought.
Yeah. Confirmed people. These are people that we know had their information lost. 16,406. That includes 3,248 business partners whose names, addresses, phone numbers, and emails have been out leaked. So those are business partners. Those are high-end people that you want to steal the security. People like this would want to steal the information from, I should say. Let me be careful with my wording here. Former employees and retail parties equal almost 10,000 people. And current employees is currently 4,000 people, at rounding the numbers up. That's a lot of people whose personal information has been just lost in this leak. And that doesn't count the potentially compromised people. This is consisting of customers, people who have applied for various positions at Capcom, etc. 58,000 people who applied at Capcom, 390,000 people who were customers of Capcom. Almost 500,000 people have had at least their name, address, phone number, or email address leaked because of the security breach.
It's kind of crazy. Although, how many people did the ESA throw on their website that one time?
Not 500,000. I can tell you that. I think it was a couple thousand on the ESA site.
Big thing to note, though, that none of the at-risk data contains credit card information.
Yes, that is always stored somewhere else.
Yeah, all their online stuff is done by a third-party service provider, so they don't actually have anybody's credit card info. So that's good news.
Good.
But, I mean, still having your name, address, your phone number, and your email out there.
If you have that, you can usually get the rest of it.
Yeah, not the best.
You can do some social engineering and get some shit. David, that wraps up the news. We have 2 delays that I want to mention before I move on to predictions. One, Stronghold Warlords is delayed from January 26th to March 9th. I really like the Stronghold series. I've always been a fan. It is a medieval castle builder / attacker simulation where you need to defend or attack a castle. Those are always fun little games. It's been around for a while, but it's been dormant for quite a few years. And then Outriders, that is Square Enix's, I don't know what I would call it. It almost looks like a looter shooter, but not quite. It has a non-cartoony Borderlands.
Outriders is very much Division 2.
Is it? Okay.
Yes. I've watched a bunch of gameplay on Outriders. It is very much like the Division 2 loot shooter.
You know, I like the Division. I might have to look closer into this. But that has been delayed from a nebulous fourth quarter 2022, April 1st. And yes, they do make sure to say that is not a joke, that it is coming on April 1st. There will also be a demo for it out February 25th for those interested in buying it.
You know, a small aside regarding delays. I'm really extra bummed now that Everspace 2 was pushed back. Because if it had launched on its originally planned day, I bet they would be doing amazing.
Probably. You know, I finally sat down and played Everspace 1 a couple days ago. I didn't know it was a roguelike.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had no idea. I know they're abandoning the roguelike concept for the second one. Mm-hmm. But I was shocked when it was a roguelike. I was like, oh, shit. How did I not play this before? Because it has everything I like in it.
Yeah, dude, it's super fun.
Yeah. David?
Yes.
It's that time of year when we all sit down and bullshit about what we think is going to happen in 2021 because the news is still very light because everyone's just now coming back from their breaks.
That's true. We ain't got no news. We're just making it up as we go, everyone.
So we're going to make up 10, I'm assuming you have 5, for a total of 10 predictions that we think might happen in 2021, and we're actually going to write them down this year so we can talk about it.
Technically, we had predictions last year, but we're both too lazy to go look up the old VODs, and neither of us wrote any of them down.
Yeah, I could have looked up the old VOD, but I didn't. I could have done that.
We could have.
Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Oh yeah, I'll start this off. This will be a good one. You ready?
Yeah.
This is a bold as fuck prediction that I desperately hope isn't true. But the first one on my list, Tencent will buy a AAA publisher this year.
Not just invest in, but outright buy.
Tencent will take a controlling interest in a AAA publisher this year.
It's important to clarify that because they already have controlling interest in Activision, for example.
Is it controlling?
Or not controlling, I'm sorry. They already have an interest in Activision. I think it's like 5%.
I mean, they're going to buy. They're going to be a majority owner of a AAA publisher.
I think
by the
they
end of
almost,
2021.
Well, trying to think of what else. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
That's just the first one on my list. That's what I got.
First one on my list, I was alluding to this a little bit last show about how there's going to be a major publisher that eats shit this year. My first prediction.
A huge snafu.
My first, no, like financial. My first prediction. THQ Nordic, under the pressure due to COVID-19 disrupting their timetable of buying like who knows how many licenses and being unable to really develop game and make money off of those, will be forced to resell off many of their acquired properties.
Oh, damn.
Because they bought all this shit. They're like, we're going to make all these games. We have like 50 games in development. And then fucking COVID hit.
They also bought a shit ton of studios. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll hit THQ necessarily, but it could hit a bunch of their studios.
Let me broaden this. Not THQ Nordic. Embracer Group.
Oh, okay.
I should be saying Embracer Group. I think they are currently overextended out the ass. I think they expected to be able to crank out games relatively quickly, and I think COVID is going to slow them down to the point where they have to start selling off the properties that they just bought without making a single game for them. That is my first prediction.
That's rough.
None of these are good. I have no positive predictions.
I have a prediction that I know for a fact was on my list last year, and I know this because it was also on my list the year before. You might figure it out, but I will once again claim that despite all hope, a new F-Zero will be announced in 2021.
My second prediction, there will be no talk of F-Zero in 2021.
So that one's a win or a lose, really.
Nintendo will not even hint at them delivering an F-Zero in 2021.
My money's on you, but man, I hope I'm right.
That was meant to be a throwaway prediction I had at the end here, but I did put it in there because I had a feeling you would say that.
Yeah, dude.
All right, let me give my real number 2. But my number 6 for an honorable mention was that. Number 2. BioWare will not be shut down in 2021, but you will hear reports of more and more outside studios helping the development of Dragon Age as their workforce winds down for the eventual shutdown in 2022 or 2023. I think you're going to start seeing more and more of the responsibilities from the BioWare team be outsourced to other various EA developmental studios. Dragon Age will be released as like a collective game. It'll still have the BioWare name on there, but it'll have multiple outside studios attached to it. And then as BioWare starts having more and more of their workforce transferred to other studios or retire, they will eventually shuttle that door. But that won't happen until next year or the year after.
Wow. That's bold. My next one is going to be gaming adjacent.
Okay.
And I have some extra like little bits to this, but the long and short of it is that NVIDIA will announce a new line of GPUs before the 30 series cards are readily available.
So they'll be on like the 40 series before anyone can actually buy a 30 series?
Yeah.
Now, announce and release?
No, they won't release them, but
okay.
they will announce them. And I don't mean like you can find one if you hunt for it. I mean, like walk into a Best Buy and grab one off the shelf and just go up to the counter, or just hop on Amazon on a whim and buy one, not staring at Wario64's Twitter and hoping for the best. I mean, legit just being able to pick one up. No,
that's...
And I'm also not counting any of the updated 30 series cards. So like the 3080 Super that we all know is coming, and the TI and all this other crap.
What's annoying about the GPU situation as it is that most of those cards aren't even going to video games.
Nope.
They're going to crypto mining.
Hell yeah, they're outrageously profitable.
Yeah. David?
Yes.
My number 3 is that a major media website will close its doors. Just outright close. Not even be bought out. Just be done. And by
media
major...
website, like...
Huh? I'm sorry?
A media website?
Yes.
Like a journalism site or something?
Yes, and by major, I'm talking along the lines of IGN, GameStop, Polygon, or Kotaku. One of those 4. The reasoning behind this is because I believe that there's going to be a digital bloodbath in 2021. I believe that due to the recent changes in the administration that are about to happen, that a lot of sites are going to lose a lot of viewership, because the Orange Man is what kept people plugged into a lot of these sites. Not specifically IGN, GameStop, Polygon, and Kotaku, but the people that own them. And when you start cutting the fat, the first things to go are the entertainment properties like that. So I expect one of the 4 big major games websites will close its doors permanently in 2021.
Wow.
As a result of the, in my opinion, upcoming digital purge of new media online, because they no longer have the freak show to talk about.
Well, if we're going to keep the bummer train going, I've got a prediction.
Oh, I've got 2 more bummers. Don't worry, it gets worse.
That will not make anybody happy. You ready for this one?
Yeah.
Elden Ring will be canceled.
Just outright canceled. Okay, I thought you were about to say delayed, not canceled.
Yeah, canceled. Or George R.R. Martin will leave the project.
I would sooner believe George R.R. Martin leaves the project, and his death counts as leaving the project.
Yep.
I don't think he's going to live another year, personally.
I put the or on there because the canceled was like almost too spicy for me, so I had to throw in another one.
Fair enough.
But yeah, no, the spirit of that is Elden Ring will be canceled.
Rock Bogart says, "Shut your mouth." I'm actively. That's a bold prediction, my friend.
I know. I'm a complete asshole.
I would sooner believe him leaving the project. That I can see, but Elden Ring just getting canceled is that's bold. Number 4 on my list. Both. This is a quick one. Both God of War and Halo Infinite will be delayed out of 2021.
Oh, this is gone? Not coming out this year at all?
Halo Infinite specifically the reason why I think you said earlier. I think they're going to make it
drop
where
the
it's going to
old
be.
gen Xbox. Give me an actual next gen Halo game.
I think so. I think they're both going to get delayed completely out of 2021.
All right. Next up, I actually do have a positive note. Valve will unveil a new Half-Life game this year.
Oh man, I want to believe. I do share a little bit of the feeling that I think Half-Life Alyx was more also of a test to dip their toe, because they couldn't just come out with Half-Life 3, because as we talked about, the hype would kill it. But if we leave Half-Life Alyx, you kind of maybe set it does actually ground expectations a little bit more, because now we kind of know what to expect.
Yep, and it gives them a window to sidestep.
Yeah.
And they just made a completely bitchin' video game engine. And they are not one to leave it on the table.
Does an expansion to Half-Life Alyx count? Asks Rock Bogart in chat. I'd say so. I mean, it's a new Half-Life. So. Let's just say a Half-Life property. That's more than a... Okay, so it needs to walk a fine line.
A standalone expansion could be a new Half-Life game if it's something that you would buy on its own.
It can't be like a 10-minute experience, but it doesn't have to be a full game either. It can be an add-on to an expansion. I think that would satisfy this requirement.
I think technically it would, but that's not what I'm shooting for. The spirit of it is that I want a whole new Half-Life game announced.
Then say it. Say you want Half-Life 3.
I don't want... No. I'm not predicting that Half-Life 3 will be unveiled this year. Okay. I am predicting that a new Half-Life game will be unveiled this year.
All right.
That's a very important distinction.
My final one. Not good, but not as dire as it could have been. GameStop survives 2021. But if only
Man, how many years in a row did you have GameStop closes its doors? GameStop finally closes its doors. GameStop declares bankruptcy.
That means it's going to finally close today.
And now you're flipping it?
Survives 2021, but with only a third of its currently active stores, which put it between 2,000 and 1,500 stores of its brick-and-mortar outlets as they transition fully to a showroom style of retail outlets. So think like how Best Buy is right now, where no one actually goes to Best Buy to buy anything. They go to Best Buy to look at shit and then buy it online. That's what Best Buy.
Well, they go to Best Buy to pick up stuff they order on Amazon, because Best Buy does Amazon fulfillment now.
Physical spaces will be converted into areas for collectibles or vintage.
I'm still waiting for GameStop to just merge with Hot Topic already.
Yeah. So GameStop survives, but it'll be in a radically different form than it is now, and they will close roughly 3/4 of the stores that they had, but it will barely survive until 2021. What will remain will be your more internet cafe style settings, or shit that's like, we sell Super Nintendo games here. Every store will have like a funky thing to go visit for. That is what GameStop will fully convert into.
Speaking of closing, that leads well into my last prediction of the year. Amazon will close its game studios.
They have a major MMO coming out this year. They have. Yeah. Aren't they making New World?
Yeah.
I liked New World. You liked New World.
No, I didn't. I didn't play that shit.
You didn't play New World?
No. Why would I play an MMO?
Fuck, I thought you played
met
New World.
me? Have you spoke to me? For
That's
more than
why I was
12
surprised.
minutes?
I thought you liked New World.
No.
All right. This is news to me. Shit.
That's why that's why I have such an asshole prediction that they're just gonna shut it down. Let me know how those last 2 video games that Amazon's Game Studios made went.
I know one of them got pulled back. I can't remember what it was called though. Was it Crucible?
Yeah.
Yeah. They got unbaited.
It got unreleased. No, it got released and then rebaited and then unreleased.
Yeah, that's impressive.
That's next level. The next thing you do after that is to just close your doors.
I got
moves on to something else.
I have one more final honorable mention I want to mention before we wrap up into new releases, and this is mainly meant to troll than anything else. Star Citizen will push their Kickstarter no less than 3 more times in major events before 2021 is over.
Yet
there will be not even a release date for Squadron 42.
Oh God, you're just begging for the hate mail. God, so many people are gonna call us cocks on Twitter.
Oh no. Ooh. It's not my fault you spent fucking 15 grand on an imaginary ship, bro. It's not my fault that half the cast of Squadron 42 will be fucking dead before that game sees release. Because let me tell you something. I love Mark Hamill. I love Gary Oldman. They're getting up there. David, that does it for our predictions, which means we're going to go ahead and roll into new releases because I forgot to do any kind of transition for it whatsoever. So why don't you go ahead and tell us what comes out this week?
You talked me past. I was going to make a Star Citizen Tesla valuation joke, but I think the moment's passed.
I think you're just bitter because you hate Tesla and they seem to be booming right now.
No. They're I saw a thing that they're based on their value as far as their stock holdings. At their current profitability, it will take them 1,600 years to equal their stock value.
Okay, yeah, they're definitely overvalued.
So, knowing that information, that was my Star Citizen joke.
All right. Jesus Christ, I didn't know about that. That is ridiculous.
Don't hate me on the internet. I want it to come out just as much as you do. Goddamn, I love space. I'm just a fucking pessimist.
We hate on it because it's funny to hate on it. And also because we want it to be good. I will once again say, I didn't mean for this to turn into a Star Citizen rant.
It's how it goes.
That game is everything. That game on paper is everything I want in a video game. Yeah. That game in reality is a fucking pipe dream and is never going to happen. You at this point, it is more likely we will get Half-Life 3 with actual evidence of Alex being out than we will ever get Star Citizen.
My problem is that Star Citizen is rapidly degenerating into a last-gen game.
Oh, it's
a game that looked mind-bogglingly gorgeous when I saw all the original stills and the original videos. Now looks like most video games.
Yeah. And it's just going to get worse. And eventually you have to stop trying to update everything.
Yeah, you can't keep pushing it to a new engine. You just have to, make the game.
Yeah. All right, David.
Anyway, that's
what do we got for new releases.
A bunch of hate mail. Let's talk about video games. New releases this week. There is not a lot. First up, King Arthur: A Knight's Tale hits PC this week. This is a dark fantasy tactics RPG set in classic Arthurian mythology, which is a fun bit of story. I don't know how much you're into the King Arthur tales.
I know more about it than you think I do, but I don't care enough about it to recite it.
Okay, cool.
I know more about it because a friend of mine is really into King Arthur. So I was having talks about him, so I learned a lot of shit from him about it, but I never bothered to look into it myself.
Gotcha. I just read Once and Future King in middle school, and there you go. Anyway,
hold on. Once in Future King, does that deal with King Arthur? Because I swore it didn't deal with King Arthur.
Yeah, no, that's the King Arthur book.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless I don't remember the title. I just remember it's a big ass fucking book.
I'm hold on. Like, my gut tells me that, I could be thinking Farewell to the King. I could be thinking something else. I gotta look this shit up. Oh, no, it is about King Arthur. You know what? I am thinking of Farewell to the King. I'm thinking of Farewell to the King.
Look at that. I remembered something. Everybody write this date down as a day in history.
Why don't you remember it?
Why don't I remember
why don't you remember this date with that steel trap memory that you have?
Oh, thanks. Anyway, talking about the video game. It is a turn-based tactical game with traditional character-centric, like RPG kind of style, but in a dark fantasy twist of Arthurian mythology.
These guys, Neocore Games, I think is still behind this. They made another King Arthur game, which was, I remember playing it years ago, and I actually did enjoy it. So this could be worth taking a look at.
This looks really cool. Stylistically, I get a lot of Larian vibes.
Yeah, that's something that very much popped in my head when I was looking at it.
Yep.
And if you're going to rip something off, could go wrong.
Yeah. I'm going to jump ahead and go to Life of Fly out this week on Xbox One and Switch. This is kind of ridiculous, but this is a casual, story-rich fly simulator.
Okay, let me pause you real quick right there. This sounds stupid on its face. However,
talk about it. This isn't a dumb game.
There was a Wii game called, I think, Dangerous Creatures, and it was about like a scorpion and a spider or something like that. And you played as these little scorpions and spiders going through stuff, but the background was like this Quentin Tarantino-esque crime drama. So, perfect. Like, you'll be... I think you were a spider. Forgive me. It's been years ago, and I've had a lot of...
So, I think this has a bit of a twist as well. So, basically, it's 12 short stories, each revolving around the life and weird thoughts of a fly.
Okay.
So, there's a bunch of weird stuff that goes on, and interesting, like, thoughts and twists as you're doing kind of normal flying around a house or flying around outside, but with, like weird internal monologues and just all kinds of kind of zany or even, like, sometimes philosophical stuff going on. And I'm seeing early reviews looking pretty good. So people that have played it, I seem to like it. So
okay.
MXGP 2020 hits PS5 this week. It came out on Steam and other places at the end of last year. It's the official video game of the Motocross Championship. So far, I know a lot of people don't love it. I guess it's missing a lot of features some of the old games have, and it could be a victim of like the short build cycle because these guys are under contract to release a new MX game every single year, but COVID happened.
Yeah,
and the motocross season really didn't.
So what are you going to do?
So what are you going to do? But that game's out on PS5. I know they've released a bunch of
entries well received.
Some of them, yeah.
Okay.
They're middling to good. This one is middling to bad, but I've heard that they've had some patches come out that have addressed a lot of issues. But just keep that in mind if you're trying to get a new motocross video game.
Okay.
Last but not least, the most important video game released thus far in 2021. Finally, at long last, everybody, I guess. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game complete edition comes out this week.
You're
PS4,
welcome.
Xbox One, Switch, PC. Fuck yeah.
I will speak on behalf of everyone. You're welcome.
Thanks, everyone, but you specifically. You had no way apart on this.
Are you sure about that, David?
Out. I'm 100% positive. Sure? Anyway, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is a game that released on the PS3 as a downloadable title that is based on the comics by Brian Lee O'Malley. It has art by Paul Robertson. It's got audio by Anamanaguchi. It is a damn great side-scrolling beat-em-up that I loved front to back, and it is coming out finally, after a long, crazy, weird Ubisoft-held battle that...
Do we know why it got taken off the store shelves? Was it licensing or...
So the crazy thing is that the guy that wrote the comic and the guy that did all the music said, why isn't this shit out? The only thing I can think of is that it was some holdup with Universal.
Okay.
And it's finally coming out. I'm gonna get the physical copy from Limited Run. I already pre-ordered the soundtrack. I am so flippin' excited for this damn game.
Yeah, it's a property you love. It's a movie you love, and it's a beat 'em up you love.
Yep.
Also, that collector's edition looks amazing.
Hell yeah, dude.
It's a little stage that has like the actual like a scene from the comics in there or something like that. Yep. It does look good. It really does look good.
Yeah, if you guys want a physical edition, make sure to check out Limited Run.
Yeah, Limited Run does some good stuff. I'll have to keep an eye on them when the inevitable System Shock releases, because they'll be on there too. I might have to pick up something Shodanny. David, that does it for new releases, which means that also does it for the show as well. This has been a truncated GamePoints episode 247. Thank you all for showing up, especially if you did so live, like a couple of you did. We always try to be interactive with the chat when we can. But if you can't watch us live here at twitch.tv/GamePoints every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, you can always watch us over at youtube.com/GamePointsPC. Get my names confused based on where we're at. If you like what you saw here, you know how to support the show. Likes, follows, bits, subscribes, all that good stuff. There's a Discord you can join, link provided down below as well. I will be back with regular game streaming Wednesday, Thursday, and Monday, and then the next episode of the show will be once again Tuesday at 8 p.m. You can follow the show over on Twitter.
Maybe we'll have news this time.
Yeah, maybe we'll actually have some news. You can follow the show over at Twitter on GamePoints PC, myself at CapitalistPig21, and David there at PalsLife_Satori. Thank you all for showing up. This has been GamePoints. Until next time, stay safe. We're out of here.